Hi, Kat here. Today I'm doing my April 2017 wrap-up. So originally my goal for this month was to read 9 books and I read 7 of them. Let's just talk about the 2 that I didn't finish this month. One was The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury. Yeah, I just didn't get around to it, so it was kind of a bummer, but there's always next month. And then the other one was Neuromancer, and I did pick this up. It was one of the first books that I picked up. And I made it about 25 pages in, and then I had to put it down, and then I picked it up again, and then I read a few more pages, got about 40 pages in, and then put it down again. It is really, really interesting, but there are so many adjectives and descriptor words in here that it felt like just the whole book is really, really, really dense, so I had to put it down. I guess I'm just not feeling in for that kind of mood right now. But anyway, I will probably read it eventually because the world is awesome and it's set in Japan, which I didn't realize until I was starting to read it. So let's move on into the books that I read this month. So this month I read a total of 14 books all up, but 7 of them are bonbon books, so romance books in like Regency or Highland or something like that. So they don't really reach over 250 pages, 300 pages-ish, and then I read 7 of the books that I will talk about today. So I'm just going to go through my list from my least favorite that I read this month to my most favorite. So starting off, my least favorite, number 6 this month, is The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wow by Junot Diaz, and I gave it 3 stars. So this book is about Oscar. He's a Dominican Republican boy growing up in America, and he doesn't really fit in either America or the Dominican Republic. A lot of his hobbies are sci-fi and fantasy, and he wants to be a writer, and he also wants to find love. But the problem is that, 1, he's not good with the ladies, 2, his interests aren't really helping him with the ladies, and 3, he has a family curse called the Fuku that's following people in his family around from the Dominican Republic. So I found this book really hard to read because a lot of it is in Spanish, Spanglish, or neologisms, which are area-specific slang that are not in the dictionary but that people would know from that area. So it was really, really hard for me to get through, and also just the sheer history about the Dominican Republic. I didn't realize it was going to be exactly like that. I thought it would be more focused on Oscar. So overall, I will leave my review, my longer review for this down below, but overall I gave it 3 stars. For me, I guess I just really wasn't the audience for it, but obviously there is an amazing audience since it won the Pulitzer Prize. So yeah, this was my number 6 book of the month. My number 5 book was These Vicious Masks by Tarun Shanker, and These Vicious Masks follows a girl around London as she is trying to find her sister. So her sister has gone missing, and as she's in London, she is accompanied by 2 gentlemen. One is mysterious and aloof, and then the other one is very friendly and charming, and she realizes that there is an undercurrent of magic and people who have powers in London. I was a bit let down by this book. I gave it 3.6 stars because it had a lot of tropes that I don't like, and a lot of underdeveloped characters, and also like one-dimensional villain, and also cliffhanger ending. So all of those things, I gave it 3.6. I will probably read the next in the series if it comes out on Kindle, but I definitely won't be buying it in person. Moving on to number 4 this month was Fangirl by Rowell, which I gave 4 stars. So this is a really, really sweet story about a girl named Kath who writes gay fanfic online, and it was just adorable. So she has a lot of anxiety problems, and she has trouble eating in front of others, and she just isn't really good with fitting in with other people. She's not like the life of the party, so it's about her navigating university and coming into her own as she's dealing with family problems and problems with her friends, and then also navigating boys, and also keeping up with her online fanfic presence. So overall, I thought this was a really endearing story, and I just thought it was really just so cute. And after I read it, I found out that the gay fanfic that she's writing about, which is called Carry On, Rowell then wrote the book Carry On, which is the gay fanfic. So I am definitely going to read that at some point, because that's totally my jam. Yeah, so then number 3 this month was A Darker Shade of Magic. I gave it 4.1 stars. So A Darker Shade of Magic, I definitely had no problem reading it. It was amazing. I love that one of the main characters is a badass chick, and basically you follow two main characters, and one of them is Kel and one of them is Delilah. Kel is a blood magician and he can travel through 4 alternate versions of London. And then Delilah is a thief, and so she steals something from Kel, and then after that when he goes to get it back from her, their journey intertwines. And it was just amazing, and a lot of the things, the reason why it got kind of down to 4.1 is that it did fall for some classic fantasy tropes. I took off for that, but overall it's very enjoyable, so I think I will definitely read the others in the series. So tied for second place are 2 books that got 4.4 stars, which are The Lovely Bones and Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. So The Lovely Bones is not new. It has been around for a long time. I just didn't read it because I feel like the subject matter would have been too much for me to handle when it came out, because when it came out I was just like 12 or 13 or 14, and it follows a girl who has been raped and murdered when she's 14 years old, and she is looking down on her family as they're trying to solve her murder, find her killer, and deal with their grief. So I thought that the book was very interesting. The way it was written was great, and also the way it dealt with grief and how people move on. I gave it 4.4 stars because it just did everything well. Nothing was so outstanding to me, but everything was kind of done really well, so it was like a really great effort and I really appreciated it. And then the other one that's tied for second place for me is Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. And wow, talk about a book that does setting and world building extremely well. She is just amazing. I have a girl crush on Octavia E. Butler. I think her mind is amazing and what she dreams up is just phenomenal. So you follow a girl named Lauren. The world has basically fallen apart and government isn't kind of cohesive anymore. And so you get little neighborhood enclave, which their neighborhoods have walls around them, which are built based on the wealth of the inhabitants. So Lauren's neighborhood is not wealthy, but they're not poor either. So they have about a 9-foot wall, and then beyond the wall is just chaos and destruction. So especially there's a certain kind of drug which turns people into pyromaniacs, and it's not the kind of pyromaniac where they burn a bonfire. They burn like the house down, and then they burn the forest down. So eventually the chaos, kind of comes in, and Lauren is forced to flee her neighborhood and head north. So you follow her on the journey from there. And this book was just really awesome. It's the first in a duology, and honestly to me I wish that it wasn't a duology. I wish it had just been stuck together, because I feel like I would have read an 800-page book all in one sitting, but because it's chopped off, I feel like I will get around to the next one eventually. But yes, I really recommend Parable of the Sower if you are into dystopian and road novels. I think it was really strong, and the cast of characters that she meets along her way is just amazing and diverse and just, perfect. Like, Butler is perfect. Okay, and so my number 1 pick of the month is All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. This book is amazing. So amazing. I can't stop talking about it. I immediately made my fiance read it because I wanted to talk about it with someone. So it follows Wavy, who is a young girl, and she's growing up in an absolutely awful set of circumstances where her parents are, one is like a drug lord, and then her mother is addicted to drugs. So she grows up in a really bad situation, and one day she is by the roadside and she sees someone crash their motorcycle, and she goes over to help them. That's how she meets Kellen, who is one of her father's thugs, and he is kind of like a handyman as well and a car mechanic. From the beginning, when they meet, Kellen is early 20s, I believe, and Wavy is about 8. And what happens is Kellen starts to take care of Wavy and also her younger brother Donald. And so he is their protector, and he takes them to school, and he makes sure that they're being fed and that they have groceries. And then as time goes on, their relationship develops into something else. And I was terrified to read this novel a bit because I thought it might be like Lolita, which I absolutely hate. But for certain reasons, which if you want to know, please check out my review of this absolutely amazing book, then but it was not like Lolita at all. This book was amazing, and I really, really highly recommend it. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, and it's not, deals with really serious circumstances and really serious child abuse moments and things along that nature, but it is a brutal, raw, just really like tender, like love story in the end. So I highly recommend it. I gave it 4.9 stars. It is the closest book to 5 stars I think that I have read in a long time. So yeah, that finishes up my April wrap up. So if you've read any of these, let me know what you think, and I highly recommend All the Ugly and Wonderful Things, Parable of the Sower, The Lovely Bones, Darker Shade of Magic, Fangirl, and then the ones that I wouldn't necessarily recommend are These Vicious Masks or The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. Yeah, so let me know if you agree, if you don't agree, and what you think. And I hope that you are having an absolutely wonderful May. I go back to school tomorrow. I've had a bit of a break as a teacher, so I am really looking forward to seeing my students again. Yeah, I miss them. So anyway, have a lovely day. See you. Bye.